Welcome back to Big 12 Media Days here in Dallas at the Westin. Matt Tait alongside Jesse Newell. Matt, what'd you learn today about KU football?
Well, we know a lot about it. We know a lot what we learned in the past. But, today it was all about these guys feeling like they belong. That was the sense I got. I mean, for the last couple of years, it's kind of been that afterthought. Turner Gill's sort of the unproven coach who doesn't really speak out, isn't really commanding a lot of respect or attention. Not the case anymore. Charlie Weis owned the room, had people cracking up. He was honest. He was blunt. He was funny. He was charismatic. I mean, all the things we expected that he would be, he was, and that rubs off on the players. And then you've got a guy like Dane Christ, who's a proven quarterback with a Notre Dame pedigree. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. These guys actually belonged here today. The national media wanted a piece of them, and they felt that. They exuded that. And I think that's so different for KU football and so good for KU football.
Yeah, Dane Christ had a long radio line when I was sitting there, kind of stand by the KU people. Charlie Weis, a lot of people around him as well. And like you were saying, he kind of held court because there were a lot of people around him. I was just there for a brief time, and he was talking about how if KU got 4 wins and he was a media member, he would think, oh, that's a good season. But he said, if they hired me and I thought that, then they shouldn't have hired me. So he was kind of saying some things like that as well.
Yeah, and he said it in the typical sarcastic Charlie Weis fashion. He even changed the pitch of his voice. He said, well, if we won 4 games, then I could easily sit there and go, oh, that's great, we won 4. He literally did that. He changed the voice. So really relaxed. I mean, remember, this guy's won Super Bowls. He's been at Media Day for the Super Bowl. He's been at Notre Dame where everything he did was under a microscope. This is old school for him. This is like Sunday on the couch for the rest of us. So really enjoyable to watch him in this environment because it's different than we've seen him in Lawrence.
Yeah, and he's just trying to sell the program, and this is the day to do it. Any other newsy things that came out of today, Matt?
Oh, all kinds of little nuggets and notes. I mean, nothing concrete and official, but he talked a little bit about Tevin Shaw starting at safety. He came in as a running back everybody expected, but with the depth at running back, Shaw's going to start at safety, and he gave him that opportunity. He gave him that option, and Shaw chose that. He talked a little more about Tobin O'Perham maybe being the two-way player this year. He even mentioned Dwayne Zlatnick as a two-way player, both offense and defense. So all kinds of little, nuggets here and there, nothing crazy, nothing that's going to change the course of the season or anything like that. But, that's not what these are for. These aren't for newsy items. That's what next week and the next month is for. This is for selling the program, like you mentioned, and all 3 of those guys, Christ, O'Perham, Hawkinson, and Charlie Weis, they sold the heck out of it, and they did a good job.
They also wore suits today, and people noticed that as well. KU, if you see some of the photos online, wore the suits, looked nice. Charlie Weis sold the program. Kind of a different look for KU. For all the coverage you were talking about with notebook items, main story items, videos, we have all of it at KUsports.com. Check out the blog and check out our coverage coming up in the next few days.